No, we are not in this alone. This is Bestseller Live. I'm coming to you from a noisy cafe in San Francisco, but we're going to continue. We're going to have a great show today. I am joined by my fantastic co-host, Cynthia. How you doing today?
I'm great, Red. Nice to see you as always.
Yeah. And I'm Rhett Power, and we've got a wonderful author with us today from Iceland. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be with you both. So my name is Hrund Gunnsteinsdóttir, not the easiest name in the book, and I am the author of InnSæi, Heal, Revive, and Reset with the Icelandic Art of Intuition.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm so excited to have you. You are a thought leader, a filmmaker, author, TED speaker. You're known for your pioneering work on the power of intuition in leadership, change, and innovation. You've worked for the last 25 years with organizations like the UN. You've worked in sustainability. You've worked in education and the arts. You bring together ancient Icelandic wisdom and modern science to help individuals and organizations navigate uncertainty. Well, what a timely topic this is, because it couldn't be more uncertain right now with everything going on in the world. Let's get into the book. Cynthia, you got the first question.
Sure. So I know there's also like a Netflix documentary. So you were this concept that started before you and will go on after you. You've stretched it so far. So it's incredible. But it has been called, I want to get this correct, the intuition or the wisdom for turbulent times. Did I get that correctly? Or is this something that anybody can access at any time?
So InnSæi is the Icelandic word for intuition. So in the book, I write it with a capital I and a capital S. And we do the same in the film. So if you look up InnSæi, the Icelandic word for intuition in the dictionary, you will find the same definition like you find for intuition in English, in the English dictionary. But what we did, just to go back 20 plus years, when I started to really dive into intuition, the world within us, this magnificent, intangible world that we actually know very little about, and became really curious about it. I and we who've worked with me, among other projects in the film, we started to converse with people from around the world about intuition. And so in English, mostly. And I realized after having had all these different, incredibly fascinating conversations that we have different ways of defining intuition. So everything from it being an irrational impulse we shouldn't rely on, to something woo-woo that hasn't been backed by science. And then in between, you would have all these amazing research and stories of ancient wisdom, new science about this fundamental part of our intelligence. And so in doing that, it made me see the Icelandic word as if for the first time. So I want to explain the concept a little bit, because approaching InnSæi as a concept is only what we've done in the work that I've done with my co-director and in the book and in different projects that we've done. So we approach the word like a sculpture. And I really just feel like sharing this with book lovers, those of us who love words. Because the wisdom that I find so important, and the Icelandic wisdom actually comes from that word. So Icelanders are only less than 400,000 people. We are a very few people in the world who speak Icelandic. We are very protective of our language. Icelandic is very close to, the Old Norse, the language of the Viking. And when we create new words for new findings, ideas, things that we invent and discover in the world, we make the words very Icelandic. So we don't adopt English words and put an accent on them, for example. So we create a word that describes the function and the logic of the thing that we are translating. So all this to say, InnSæi is made up of two words, in and sæi. In means inside or into, and sæi means the sea or to see. So that's what gets us to the meaning of the Icelandic concept InnSæi, which we've worked with in saying InnSæi means the sea within, so referring to our ever-flowing unconscious mind, the world of imagination, vision, the world beyond words that works super fast and much faster than our conscious focused mind. And the world within the sea within cannot be put into boxes, because then it ceases to flow, which I think is a very important function of intuition. And secondly, InnSæi means to see within. So for anyone who's thought about this phenomenon knows that the very first step we take in order to align with and hone our intuition is to become aware of it. Because we all have intuition. We can go through life more or less disconnected from it. I have for a big period in my life. But we can also connect to it and align it. So to see within is about self-awareness, metacognition, being able to discern intuition from biases or fears or wishful thinking, knowing when to rely on it and when not. And then thirdly, InnSæi means to see from the inside out. So how do you navigate the ocean of life with a strong inner compass? So this is not a short answer. Thank you for your patience, but I really had to get that out there.
Right, I'm going to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have to go from it. I love that you say it's not a short answer and it's one word. Just the idea that one word can be so big.
Yes.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Okay, right.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Thank you.
No, InnSæi, I mean, it's such a beautiful idea, and because I think of it as an idea, not just a word, right? Or the subtitle of the book, Heal, Revive, and Reset, to me suggests a sort of a deep personal and maybe collective restoration that we're talking about here. What are we healing from, and how does intuition help us reset?
That's a beautiful question. Thank you. So in my work, and the more that I get to know the work of many, many other amazing people from today's world and timeless wisdom, there is this thing about, let's just think about the audience as well now. People who are working they're in the workplace, they're running their families, they're leading something. Let's think about this. Could it be that we've become disconnected from our intuitions? Could it be that there is so much noise and speed around us that we can't even hear our inner voice? Could it be that we no longer trust as much as in our own judgment like we used to do? Could it be that we are giving away the stewardship of our own attention because it's being bombarded all the time and hijacked by external things around us? And my answer to that question, having done all the different, both being a leader myself, working with teams and leading transitions, but also making the film and all the research and doing the education program, my answer to that is I think we are. I think we've become disconnected. And I think that the real healing that needs to take place in the world and the real source for our ability to change and transform systems in order for our systems to respond to the world we live in today, but not 200 years ago, that change needs to come from within. So I really believe that. So, and this is the reason why I today am committing my work to training people, aligning with and honing their intuition and just opening up that world within us. Because people keep coming back to us and to me after the book saying, thank you for putting words to something I could never put into words myself. So it's almost like a reminder, you actually have this amazing wisdom inside you, that you might not be paying enough attention to as you could.
And it sounds the way you say it, simple. And then I hear you you have this TED Talk translated into 13 languages. Is that correct? And you're so
yeah, the book is translated. Yeah, and is published in all continents. It's been an incredible journey.
And do you think, or why do you feel it translates so well?
Yeah, I think it just touches a nerve. I think it just rhymes with what people are sensing. So sensing is a very important word here. So intuition is very much about sensing, sense making, feeling into things, and it's an embodied knowledge, and it's something that I just think a lot of people are thinking along the same lines, and they relate to the message of the book. There is also an element in the book that I could have written a book that was very academic, data-based, scientific, but I intentionally wove together scientific language, stories from business, from sports, from the arts, the poetry that lies in the word, just giving that like full force space in this whole narrative. And I do that for a reason, because I think that the world of intuition, again, which is so fundamental to our intelligence, like I really want more people to realize that it needs us to listen in a different way than we listen to data or facts, or the way that we are fed with news or something. It follows a different logic. And I just think that people just sense that there is something there that they relate to, and they really want to find a way to do that.
You and I have a lot in common. We both have worked for aid agencies, and we've both worked in post-conflict areas. In fact, I just did a TEDx on Rwanda and Tajikistan, places that I've worked post-conflict, and I'm curious from your perspective, how has intuition played a role in your own high stakes decision making and places where these decisions really, really matter? I mean, in some of these places, decisions are, these kind of decisions you're talking about are critical. Talk about intuition, how you use it to make high stakes decisions. Because I think this is relevant to leaders today. As leaders today, we have to see around all these corners. We have to see what's happening, how our business is going to change from technology. We have conflict in our own organizations. About half of your employees believe differently than you do. And how do we, bridge these communication gaps? So we just have so many things that we have to, that are high stakes today. How do you use intuition in your own decision making, and how did you use it in those really tense areas? Just give us a little insight in that, because I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's. Thank you for bringing that up, and I really look forward to listening to your talk about that, or talks. Was it one talk or talks?
It's one talk, and it is going out on TED. So I'm waiting on TED now to give me a date, but it's an important topic with what we face today, and if intuition can help us, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about that more. I think...
Exactly. So these are great thoughts. So one of the ways that intuition worked for me, even way back when I started to work in Kosovo just after the war, in the beginning of this century, intuition was super important to read the room, try to understand, to capture the big picture, the complexity of the situation. Coming into a society emerging from war, it's like walking into an open wound.
And can I interrupt you for a second? Also, I want you to talk about how you learn to trust your intuition, because I think that's another important element. Sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to.
Yeah, thank you so much, and please remind me if I forget to address this, because that's a very important element too. So walking into a situation that's complex, it can be post-conflict, it can be just a complex context for anyone out there listening. It can be different settings. So many things are happening. It's polarized, and we lack peace, we lack solidarity, people are not trusting each other and stuff like that. And what you want to do in a situation like this, like in my role, was to build leadership, to build coalitions, to understand what is the future vision that you agree on, and how can we How can we take you there? And to me, intuition was super important. So, sitting in front of somebody who is saying words to you and understanding the body is saying something different, you may realize, actually, we need to have another talk in a different place that is not as intimidating for that person to express his or her views, for example. And then it's about creating, a psychologically safe environment for people to speak from their deepest truth and belief of what they really want to do, so that they can harness and hone their courage, for example. I had done the studies. I had been a journalist. I had written about the Balkans. I had read lots of things about it, did my own research. It truly helped to inform my intuition about, the different elements of it. So I think that's always important too. So like we have in our backpack, we have our experience, expertise, and knowledge. And it helps us become better in using our intuition, even mastering it in a certain domain. So that's very important. But then we also encounter uncertainty in a situations we have never been in before. So in those situations, one of the things I would love to mention here is the power of presence. So why do I say presence? That has to do with strategic intuition, which is unprepared for what is right in front of you and around you. When we are able to be present in a situation, we are best able to tap into everything that we know and we've collected, also with our unconscious sensing through our intuition. It makes us best prepared for the unexpected. So in my book, I interview a sports coach who describes this. We know this from military history, from business strategy, and also from any sort of context where we are going through transition and meeting the unexpected. So these are very important things. And then you asked the question about, so just to finish on the conflict, because the world is kind of on fire, right, in so many ways. So I know people who work with, warring sides today, and they are really trying hard to get the negotiators to connect with their intuition, and they're finding it super challenging because they're very disconnected, and their energy is just ungrounded in so many ways. So back to something that you asked me, the second question: how do you then, if I remember correctly, how do you then begin to trust your intuition, right? So one of the things that I learned, and to be honest, it's not so many years ago that I kind of was able to put this into words and back it up with research that I found around us. That is the following, and this is going to resonate probably with most people. When you have, whether it's in your personal relationships, at work, in your bigger family, wherever the context, if you have repeatedly been dishonoring your own experiences and feelings about things and events, this doesn't have to be big or dramatic. It can be like, oh, never mind, I'm not going to bring that up because we want to have a nice evening. Or, but you keep doing it again and again, and it becomes a pattern without you maybe being conscious of it. What you're actually doing is you are distancing yourself from your own intuition, because you need to be able to honor and mindfully observe how you are reacting to and feeling about things, so that you can learn to listen to your intuition when it is the good intuition, but not misintuition or fear or biases. So really tuning into to yourself, to really honor how you are navigating through small and big events and relationships, and learning to, I always recommend to people to journal. So that's, to me, has been one of the most powerful tools to use, and there are different ways of journaling. So the book is full of advice on that, but yeah, so that's one of the things I would like to bring up. Honor your own inner voice and experience of things.
I relate to that of knowing that once you start journaling, your whole life's going to change. So you put it off because you're like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to blow my life up.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, yeah.
Start journaling. I'm curious. Sometimes your intuition makes you go. You question yourself, but then you start to honor it. How do you get other people to hear you clearly? Is it because things start to change pretty rapidly when you honor your intuition?
So one of the things this is such a great question, because in order for other people to hear you, you really need to be grounded in yourself, in your inner compass, and be really aligned with your intuition. With that comes lots of things like knowing yourself well enough to set your own boundaries, knowing yourself well enough also to understand that people show up around you in a way that often has nothing to do with you. And so if you are a person who goes through like being like empowered by aligning with your intuition, that can shake up some of the power structures around you. And people around you, the people you love, might turn to you and say, that's very unlike you. I've never heard you say a thing like that, or whatever. And you begin to feel challenged by that, but being aware that you're actually carving out your space in a way that you want to show up in the world. And I also want to say, sometimes there's a little bit of turbulence, but it's okay, right? Because the more we are connected with our intuition, with ourselves, the more we are able to be connected with the people around us and the world around us. And so what comes out of it, one of the things that comes out of it, is that you sink into yourself in a way that you become a better listener. You are less tunnel viewed when you are grounded in yourself and your nervous system is regulated. You're nicer to be around. You are more generous in spirit because you are sourcing yourself in a way that's regenerative for you, and so on and so forth.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
We've just got a few minutes left. I would love to get an answer about, if readers could take one thing from InnSæi, what do you hope it is?
To start to honor and listen to their intuition. That's really what I hope people do. Like, that people become curious and excited about their intuition, and just really, really get to know it better and learn to hone it. Mm-hmm. And I believe that they will feel the difference if they really read the book, do the exercises, and do the work. Then I've seen it. It's a beautiful transformation. So allow yourself to step out into the world. The deeper you connect within, the more you're able to experience the beautiful life out there. There is so much beauty and generosity and kindness, and we all know we need more of it. So put cynicism on the shelf for a while and open up your heart and be courageous and show up for yourself. Connect with your deepest self.
Well, absolutely. And the book is InnSæi, Heal, Revive, and Reset. There's also a Netflix documentary. Where can people find all that? Where can they buy it? Where can they see the film? If you're a film person, talk about that for a second. Yeah.
So the book can be bought anywhere online now, and it's already available in 6 or 7 languages. And by the end of the year or early next year, there will be 13. So wherever you buy your books, I'm very eager to recommend local bookstores, but whatever people are used to doing, it should be available in most places. The film came out in 2016 and it was on Netflix in 2017 and 18. It's no longer on Netflix. It doesn't stay for that long, but okay. Netflix might decide to put it on again, like Amazon Prime did again recently in the UK and Germany. So it really depends on where you are in the world. In the States, it should be available on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Vimeo on demand, and there is also Zeitgeist also sells the DVDs for anyone who loves DVDs and still uses them.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. And congratulations on all of your success with this single idea. It's really beautiful to see someone find this one thing that just lights them up and they take it out into the world.
Thank you so much. That's very kind. And it's been a real pleasure to be on your podcast. And I've listened to some of your shows and I really, really enjoy them. You're a great team as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
You want to take us out, Cynthia?
Well, and thanks again for joining another episode of Bestseller Live. We will be back next week with a new author. And again, please check out our newsletter if you're excited or looking forward to book giveaways. See you next time.